Hello everyone, and for those of you wondering, that was Onto the Snake Way that was playing just now, and that is able and to be available on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, what have you. It's on the channel as well, so if you look for Onto the Snake Way on this channel, you will find it if you want to have another listen to it, naturally after the stream. But I am joined as usual with Sophie B.
Hi.
And Haverok will be with us in a little bit.
I'm already here.
Oh no, cool, you're back. Nice. Yeah. It was doggo related, right?
No. It will be. I will be off later during the cutoff, but.
Oh, okay, cool.
Ah.
So basically, this is the what if round table. So if you have a what if you'd like to ask myself, Haverok, or Sophie, or all of us, then you can do so. And to do that, because we have a lot of people in the chat, we do ask you to leave a super chat. So that means you can actually get your you can get noticed, because again the chat goes by really by, and I need to actually put slow mode on as well, because otherwise it's going to go by pretty quickly. So you just leave a super chat with your what if and you're good to go. And we will be having a cutoff about an hour and a half, 2 hours in. It depends on how well we're going, because after that we will not be accepting we will kindly ask you to withhold super chat so we can actually get through a potential backlog. So that means everybody could be read tonight, and hopefully the internet, touch wood, doesn't crud out on me. So anyway, let's get things rolling. And I believe what was the first one? The Jurassic Show. So the Jurassic Show was the first one. It says, what if Piccolo had been killed by Gohan when he transformed into the Ozaru? That is a very good question, because in theory, the first time that Gohan turned into the Ozaru, he was stronger than, he was in theory stronger than Piccolo was.
If you consider it a situation where the Ozaru is a ×10 multiplier, and Gohan at his highest power rating during one of his rage boosts was around the 13 to 1400 mark, I believe.
710 was like pure core rage that first boost.
Yeah, 710 was the first boost, but when he actually broke out of the pod, he was even higher.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because I know for a fact that he was stronger than a Cyberman at his peak rage during that bit, which is kind of why Raditz freaked out. But even if you only went with the 710 aspect, the Ozaru boost, I mean, because if you think how they send infant children with low power levels to go and eliminate civilizations with their Ozaru forms, Gohan at a power rating of 710 going Ozaru, that pretty much spells out doom for planet Earth if Piccolo isn't around to stop him, because I mean, do you really think that Krillin, even if they manage to find each other and team up, Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, Yajirobe, I'm not entirely sure that if they'd be able to stop Gohan, at least not without seriously harming or killing him.
And even if he calms down, Piccolo dead means Kami dead. It means no DragonBallZ.
I think we need to play the sound. The sound. Wow, we're getting this one early. Jeez, but
I think we need to make a second lightning round of those. We had one, but epic fails. Once was kind of fun to ride.
I would say so. Podo's next. I had a silly idea for a joke. The competitive event of the century, the ultimate mama off. Toriel versus Gine. What are the events? Who will win?
Well, I know for a fact that Toriel is very, very likely to bake a better butterscotch cinnamon pie than Gine is. But as far as being able to protect her young, I don't know. Gine is a Saiyan, so she has at least some strength, even if she's weak by standard Saiyan standards. And so I don't know. I'd probably say that Gine would win the more protective physical aspects, but Toriel would win the actual mothering aspects, maternal aspects.
I think they would become friends and share the notes.
Yeah, no, I think it would end up that Gine would be cooking the main course pretty much because Saiyans, they know how to prepare meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
A good main, and Toriel will be there with the butterscotch. So yeah, they team up. I think they would team up in some ways, but in terms
they would get along totally.
Yeah, they get along. I think they get along just fine. Monsterland's next. How would Ox King being King of Earth change the story of Dragon Ball, since the world government and army would work for him and Goku by extent? Well, they would not have to worry about money again, and the Ox King is a fair and just king. I think he'd actually be a pretty good king.
I don't think we would be seeing too much of a difference because by all rights, it doesn't look like King Furry is in any way a bad king by comparison. So Ox King being king of the world, even like resources of the Earth military and stuff like that, it's not like they would provide much help. I mean, just look at how effective they were against the Saiyans and how effective they were against Cell. It's not as if they make much of a difference.
But the fact is, in terms of like day-to-day lives and stuff like that, they pretty have a good life. And in terms of like running the planet, Ox King would be pretty good. So in that regard, and maybe Goku would probably have a bit more of like a understanding. He'd be like Prince Goku and stuff like that.
I mean, certainly, maybe the evacuations of the people when the Grand Evil is around would be better because actually they would, there would be those androids better evacuate place at this day.
Yes.
But at the same time, Jiro would probably learn about this and he could change his plans accordingly. So
there are androids here. Let's leave immediately.
Yeah, there should be like. I think people will be more aware of the whole supernatural aspect of the world,
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think it's worth making a note of it because I think that some events might be a little bit different due to people being prepared in different way.
All right, next up, Monsterland says, continues, and how would Chi-Chi being a werewolf change Dragon Ball history, since that would mean Gohan and Goten would be werewolf Saiyan hybrids, also not furry. You're not proving the very strong case, Monsterland. But in any case, I guess we basically would have Dragon Ball Z unleashed, almost.
Oh gosh, no.
I mean, if you think about it, if you think about this, Saiyans are were-apes, so would the difference be really that strong?
Well, I would think that the most that you would probably see from it is that if you're going to go with your typical like werewolf lore and mythology with like weakness to silver and stuff like that, the only real difference it would mean is that they would acquire a weakness towards conventional weaponry if it was made of silver, and
Silver the Hedgehog or actual silver, because that's very important.
And their transformation, instead of being the giant, Ozaru, would instead be like a giant wolf form. And then like Chi-Chi, I mean, her being a werewolf, I don't see it affecting the story too much because even with a transformation, she doesn't keep up with training or fighting or anything like that. She would very quickly lose out on the power scaling aspect of it, unless that aspect of her had her physically training and stuff more to be like a Z fighter, which I think it changes too much of Chi-Chi's character really to utilize that.
Yeah, it does. It could kind of really not kind of make the most of it really. And also Yamcha, I have opinions about that and stuff like that. Cameron Heaton's next. What if Goku and Chi-Chi had septuplets? This is actually, I've heard this one a lot more times than I think I would.
I've been hearing it a lot too, because I think going around of them having kids that each represent a Dragon Ball.
Yeah, no, I think we've talked about that theory. Well, all I can say is, that I'd feel bad for Chi-Chi. I mean, we all saw it from the Dragon shorts that the TFS guy put out a couple of days ago. All I gotta say to that is, Wolfang bye! And stuff like that. But Cameron Heaton also has again, says, what if Gine landed with Fem Goku at Capsule Corp? So blending 3 of the what-ifs. I see what you did there.
That would be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So...
If only because... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go.
You go.
I was going to say that would be interesting if only because of the fact that living a city lifestyle would mean a much different different social development for both Gine and the young female Kakarot, and it would also mean that we have already have like a female power trio sort of working towards being these main characters. So the biggest difference I could probably see is that if they landed at Capsule Corp, I think that both Bulma and Gine would probably push to see Kakarot get a proper education. And I think that they would probably share a bit more information like with Dr. Brief. Because I think that Gine would be concerned, at least in part, that that even though she and Kakarot escaped, there might be a possibility that threats from space could arise. So she would probably tell Dr. Brief about stuff like the Saiyans and the and the Frieza Force and stuff like that, for the purpose of being like, you can take a look at our technology and stuff like that if you think it will help keep everyone safer.
And I still feel that Galactic Patrol, I know that this isn't your favorite topic, Soph, but I think they would be involved, because that would be an adult Saiyan and a baby one, and I think they might get involved. Like, maybe not that character you don't like, but maybe others like.
I don't want it to seem as if I absolutely utterly despise Jocko. I just think he's an annoyance.
Yeah. Well, I certainly have opinions about that. Yeah, but basically, I think that's a good situation, a good way to blend all 3. Yeah. And then a sword. What if Hit defeated Monarca, causing Earth and Universe 6 and 7 to switch places? Oh, okay. So basically, if Hit didn't just play along, so if he actually remained interested, well, Monarca, Monarca would be a very he'd be gone. He'd be long gone.
And his physical trauma would be the least of his problems.
If there's anything left of him.
I mean, his soul would be hurt too, I feel.
But I suppose, really, if it was, then Champa would just end up, like, saying, like, you know, oh, I got these Saiyans and more stuff like that, and say, you Saiyans, you go to that one. He'd probably break up the Dragon team, saying, hey, you're supposed to go there and stuff like that. You, Earth Lady, make me food. And then... I think
that, you know, he would be, like, he might make Earth into a food processing planet. Oh, but at the end of the day, he could win Tournament of Power.
He could. I mean, they wouldn't be happy about it, but in theory, they could win. So that is very true. But it wouldn't be a very gracious collaboration.
And come on, like Champa is a businessman, and I think he would allow Vegeta and Goku to see Sadalan Saiyans, and you know,
as long as it provided good results and good figures at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, Universe 6 has higher mortal levels than Universe 7, so not very much, but still Champa is slightly better at his job than Beerus.
Champa and Vados superior God of Destruction and Angel duo compared to Beerus and Whis.
I mean, that may be due to Hua being a better Kai, but trust me, every Kai is better than
Kai is better than Shin.
I mean, even Ro is better than Shin. At least he has some enthusiasm in his work. It's a wrong kind of enthusiasm, but he has.
You're losing me there. You know how I feel about Ro.
Can anybody blame Shin for losing enthusiasm? He came into the series with like super high enthusiasm. He was an intimidating presence. He knew how to.
Goku broke him. I know. Goku told him, "I'm gonna kill you." I don't like. Yeah, Goku, who was respectful to all divine beings. No, mate, don't kill my genociding friend. I'm gonna off you.
But the problem with Shin is just that every time he attempted to do something in the Buu saga that would be helpful, he's immediately beaten down because everyone around him is more powerful than he is, and he's supposed to be the deity here.
What if Shin had a therapist?
Okay, we're getting bogged down here. I know Shin does this. He does this a lot. But grant Emil, what if future Vegeta survived? Well, okay, so say for example in the history of Trunks, if Vegeta survived, he probably would end up like saying, you know, he would peace out the planet at that time. He'd just go like, oh, forget this, I'm out of here. And stuff like that. At that time, he had no real like allegiance or like compassion for Bulma. So, you know, all he would do...
Yeah, they weren't a married couple in the future timeline.
No.
Bulma was literally just his baby mama.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So...
But speaking of babies, I think that in this, for purely pragmatic reasons, he could have taken Trunks.
He might have taken Trunks, but...
Just to make him his lucky.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine if Vegeta's straight up like baby napped Trunks had to be like appealing to other heroes on Earth, whoever was available, to go and find Vegeta so that she could get her baby back.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think probably I think Vegeta would try and find Yardrat, because that's the last place that Kakarot was, and Kakarot had gotten quite strong. So he's like, I need to go to this place. This is like...
And as we know, Vegeta can get some good results, but he's still not, like, he needs to be more chill to get those results.
He's nowhere near as chilled at that time. It would take him, like, years to do what he could do.
I like that scenario. I'm making a note of it.
Let's make a note of it. Okay.
Yeah, whose idea was this?
It was Grant Emil.
Good on you, Grant. Good on you.
Okay. Rector Accor. What if Bardock was actually a brilliant scientist? Or what if Bardock was a good dad? Well, the thing was, though, for Saiyan, he was a pretty good dad. As in, he actually remembered his sons' names.
That is true.
Yeah, for Saiyan.
I do have an idea for a what if Bardock was a scientist sort of thing. It's going to be a bit more on the fanficky side because it'll be dealing with a lot of conjecture and a sort of reimagining of Saiyan history and the characters of Bardock and Gine. But I don't know exactly when or if I'm going to be posting that anytime soon. Especially given the fact that I still need to get a little bit of cash. Properly pay my editor and title card artist and get back to work on the what if.
Okay. Well, no, but that could be really cool. But in terms of brilliant scientist, he'd end up with a lab coat and a Russian accent if the Broly movie is anything to go by. A Slavic accent of some description.
Yes.
So
this is Kakarot, my son.
Yes, but certainly by that. Paparacha. What if Chiaotzu was an amnesiac, compressed eldritch abomination like Ugalorg?
Orgalorg.
Orgalorg.
I have opinions on Orgalorg, and that they are very, very, very negative. However, I love this idea of Chiaotzu being secretly an eldritch evil being, and I think that I'm very tempted to write that as a joke one, because that would be just...
Is the question essentially like what if Chiaotzu was Gunter from Adventure?
Yes. What he was, you know.
Oof, that could be cool. But yeah, we'll make a note of that. Definitely. Yeah. Heartless Fang. I hope you guys had a good Christmas. I think we certainly did. Did you have a good Christmas, Haverok, Sophie?
Yep.
I had a very nice Christmas, actually.
Awesome. What if Goku ended up on Vampa instead of Yardrat under the Frieza saga? Well, first off, Goku would complain about the catering, as in there is none. Also, the fact is, though, people would think, oh no, Broly would complain because Kakarot. But, you know, that whole thing doesn't exist with Vampa in this world. So, I would say he probably would be quite curious that there are two Saiyans there, and that there is a Saiyan which is kinda powerful. You know, kind of powerful. Like, not, like, majorly powerful, but I think he would then realize soon enough that, oh, okay. But at the same time, he has to make sure not to press Broly's buttons too much, or else we might have to play the sound. But, you know, precarious. It's a precarious situation, I would say.
Yep.
John Coleman. What if Bardock was a loving husband and father to Ginyu and his sons? What would happen if they went to Earth and raised the boys for Grandpa Gohan? Now this is one we've had many times, and unfortunately, Bardock, even if he was a loving husband, is not the kind of person who would settle down. He would be the kind of person to go like, cool, my partner and my kids are safe. I'm gonna go and go out into space and like take care of stuff. But so long as these guys are like safe, that's the main thing.
So you're saying that he's the kind of guy who likes to roam around. He roams from place to place. He roams from town to town.
I would say so. But yeah, so something like that. Paparacha again. What if everyone's alignments were swapped during the left-right axis? Lawful, chaotic, not good or evil. So if everybody was like, became like, was still the same, like still like good, neutral, evil, but like just the other way around. Well, you probably would have like, with Goku, instead of being chaotic good, I would say that he would he would actually end up being Sean Schemmel Goku all the time. Basically like that. I'm going to stop you because I am not Superman. Now I'm really mad. Stuff like that. He'd be even madder. And Frieza. The thing is, though, Frieza's, everyone thinks he's chaotic evil. He's not. He's neutral evil, I would say. Because I'm doing this for me. So basically, Frieza will probably stay the same. It's basically people on, like, on the edges of stuff like that. Oh, wow. The Pride Troopers. Oh, jeez, the Pride Troopers. Oh, my God. They would be
group of chaotic
they'd be
individuals. Or if we go and turn them into lawful evil, they would be an Inquisition group. They would be a group of Inquisitors.
Oh, dude, they'd have
Justice Blast.
They'd have their own space flick series. Like, you just get like Topo wearing like plaid and just go like, around here, around these parts, you don't take on the Pride Troopers. The Pride Troopers take on you.
You will burn in the light of justice.
Now I'm imagining Topo dressed as a sheriff. So
it's Topo the Bounty Hunter, only on TBS.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Okay, Kalen Perry. What if Bardock and Paragus were brothers? Well, I don't think that would actually make much of a difference because even if they were related, the fact is though they are two very different people. Like Paragus is more of a backroom kind of strategist, whereas Bardock's like kind of the grunt. So in a way, there might be some resentment between them, but at the same time, they wouldn't really interact with each other because Bardock would be out there, and Paragus would probably be like really wanting to kind of like screw him over, but then not wanting to. So it's
it would be interesting though if Bardock was low class, considering that Paragus's power level puts him up the more elite troops. He's lower scale by comparison because he's in the 4,000s compared to someone like a Nappa who's like in the 6,000s. But Paragus having like a power level of 4,600 compared to whatever Bardock had, which is still kind of up in the air because we never have a confirmation of Bardock's power level outside of the special. And Raditz making one comment saying that Gohan's power level of 710 would have been higher than his father's. But it's interesting mostly just because you get to see a dynamic between a brother who is in the higher class versus a younger brother who is in the lower class, and kind of see the classism just between two family members and sort of that disdain coming through, which would probably rub Paragus even more like sore when King Vegeta has the gall to call his son an abomination, or a mutant, just because of having such a high power level comparatively.
Yep.
Yeah.
Two things to note, however. Like, I feel that one of the things that could happen is that to me, the familiar bonds could never really, matter. Like, it mattered for Raditz and Goku because they were they were lastly remaining Saiyans at some point, so it kind of mattered for Raditz. But if we assume that they did matter, what would happen if even there was a disdain? We could end up in a situation when Bardock takes Kakarot with him and goes or not even takes Kakarot because it happens before, but Bardock might take Raditz with him, and go and help Paragus search for Broly, because if this mattered, they are brothers after all, and he might want to help his nephew, and consider that is great because he doesn't like his brother, but family is a family, and we might end up with having Raditz, Bardock, Paragus, and Broly stuck on Vampa.
Oh, okay. No, that could be cool. But yeah, we've had the Nerd King drop in, so hey, Mr. Nerd King, with a massive donation there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And he just says, hey, wanted to wish a happy new year and hope the next decade is a good one. My question is, what are your suggestions for a picture? As I got some block for commissioning a new piece of art. Mum and Dad say hi. Well, we say hello back, Nerd King. Hope you're doing well and hope you had a really good holiday.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of artwork, I don't really know, and that is really kind of you to offer. I don't know. You guys got any ideas?
Well, yeah.
The perfect baby.
Perfect
Oh,
baby.
gosh.
We haven't got the
You know
art
what?
of perfect baby.
The perfect baby.
Go. You wanted
Yes.
something, Sophie.
Okay.
No, I was going to say I would love to see art of the perfect baby.
Yeah.
So basically, that's like perfect cell with baby hybrid. So it's the perfect baby.
Yeah.
So there you go. But thank you very much, Nerd King. That's really kind of you. The next one up is Blast Eye Studios. What if Frieza was with his dad on Namek? Oh, so the son of Frieza, apparently. Well, he would certainly be a bit more of a nuisance, because then Frieza would have, a crux, as in having somebody to, take care of and, make sure that they couldn't, nothing bad would happen.
Take care of. He would probably toss Dodoria around.
Probably. And we'd have a Mandalorian situation.
Look, Daddy, I have a new ball.
It's like, oh no, I'm not paid for this. I think Vegeta would go for him as some kind of way to kind of knock Frieza off or something like that.
And Kuriza would kick his butt.
Yeah, he would not.
That would be hilarious. That little, even smaller than first for Frieza, just knocking Vegeta around.
He's like, why is this kid so strong? That could be funny. Max Shadow. Whis trains Gohan in his staff like Vegeta and Goku did, and they find out that Gohan has a power they thought they would never see again. Okay, so it's like a what if. So what if Gohan actually had a power of his own? Well, it would certainly it could be like a furthering development of the ultimate power that, the Elder Kai has. So almost like an evolution of it.
Ultimator power.
The ultimatist. Yeah, or something like that. So that could be cool. Paparacha. What if Cell had Jiro's mind? Okay, so almost sort of like what we did with Android 13 in DBZ, so that Jiro had a direct link with Cell's mind. So at a pinch, Dr. Jiro could overtake Cell and basically become just a big super, Jiro Cell bot.
There would be much less toying with the food and much more efficiency.
Yes.
But at the same time, I don't think Jiro would be as good at commanding the martial arts prowess that Cell had.
No. He'd probably be he'd get the job done, but he probably wouldn't be as effective.
Yeah. A bit of a disconnect there between the mind and the body, as far as just the kind of raw instinct that comes hand in hand with Cell's genetics and his I want to say his upbringing, but I don't know if that's the right term for it. just his life living as he did and going from place to place and hunting like he did. If Gero was in control the whole time, I think that too much of his mentality would be colored by his experience as Gero, the human being.
Yeah. No, I would say so.
Cell couldn't certainly do things his way.
No. Funny. Okay. Taylor Johansson.
Taka would be proud.
Kaka. Taylor Johansson. What if the Spirit Bomb had killed Vegeta on Earth? Well, if it had, then it probably would have led to not sort of nasty stuff happening in the future, because Vegeta was quite important later on. But at that time, yeah, sure, the Spirit Bomb would have actually worked, and they probably might have had a chance to get Goku out of there. He might have not needed as much time to recover, but it's hard to say. Certainly on Namek, Vegeta cleaned up the Ginyu Force, so without Vegeta's help, they would the Z fighters will probably definitely have to they would have to like find some way of like hiding. They could not be out in the open.
And not even, Ginyus, because maybe, Zarbon and Dodoria could cause them more problem.
Exactly, the Ginyu Force probably wouldn't even be, necessary.
Needed, yeah.
Exactly. Ghostly Grimace. What if Mr. Saturn never befriended Boo? Do you think Boo would ever change his ways? Would the Z fighters beat him quicker? Well, Boo, the Boo that we first see, Fat Boo, he's not necessarily evil. He's just chaotic neutral, I would say. Like, he kind of does it because he's been told to. But... And
he knows only hunger. That's his main
exactly.
thing. He knows only hunger.
So long as he's kept, sated, he's actually quite placid. That's the thing. He's quite relaxed and chilled. It's just so long as he's, fed and he can find food, that's the main thing. But the trouble is, though, you need money for that. And as we know, Boo barely has the concept of money. So things would probably go south very quickly. But at the same time, if they figured out that so long as Boo's kept in a good mood, he's relatively calm, they would probably find some way to kind of lure him into a trap. Or be able to, sate him enough to the point where they could quit quietly off Barbody, and Shin could then put him back in the ball. Or something like that. They'd have to be very methodical about it. And, yeah, they'd have to figure it out quite a bit. It would require a lot of strategy. Nene Sword. What if Goku and Vegeta fought Gohan and Kibito? So basically, if they had a 2v2. I would say probably Goku and Vegeta would win. Because, both Goku and Vegeta can do Super Saiyan 2. Gohan could do Super Saiyan 2 as well, but nowhere near as effectively as, either the other two. And Kibito, hard to say. I mean, he probably is stronger than Supreme Kai in terms of physical strength, but it's never really been tested. So, hard to say on that one. Paparacha. What if King Furry found Goku after King Piccolo? As in, what if Goku was Earth's champion? Okay, so basically, they'd be aware of Goku. So if King Furry, lauded... they would certainly use Goku as, a poster child for their monarchy and stuff like that. Like, Captain of the Guard or something like that. But Goku would probably be a really bad commander. Because he's like, I don't know, I just punch stuff. And everyone's going like, well, you mean punch stuff, sir? Yeah, that's how I do it. That's how my grandpa did it.
You just gotta hit it really hard.
Yeah, that's right. Roshi would totally game that system. It's like, hey, kiddo, you definitely need someone who can show you the ropes in terms of the city life. With many little concubines. I mean, assistants. Yes. Just like
Hiroshi and Goku go to Vegas.
Yeah.
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 And what happens to Vegas stays in Vegas and hopefully doesn't return from there.
No. Okay, Wreck to Akor again. What if the fake Namek saga was relevant?
Interesting.
I played the same because, what about it?
Well, here's the thing about fake Namek is that I feel like it could almost be it has kind of potential to be relevant in a way. It has to be a situation that pertains to the greater scope of the events that happen when they finally do get to the real Namek proper. Because the problem with the people that they run into on fake Namek, I can never remember what the aliens are called, but the problem with them is that they have no relation to any of the other events going on. They have no relation to the Frieza Force. They have no relation to the Namekians. They have no relation to anything. But if the events of fake Namek were able to somehow get back to Frieza, for example, if you were able to see, like, because first things first is Frieza has no idea how to use the Dragon Balls, even though he knows that these items can grant him wishes. He doesn't even think to ask how to use the Dragon Balls before he starts killing people on Namek. So if you wanted to make fake Namek relevant, you would make it to where the aliens do manage to escape the planet somehow. Perhaps they get picked up by a group of Frieza Force members, and their big thing is that they know how to, because they've read the heroes' minds, they know how to use the Dragon Balls. And so maybe they're hoping to, in some way, leverage that knowledge to Lord Frieza for the sake of like a reward. I mean, it's not the best idea because it's still very hard to find a way to make them relevant
I think I
to the
have
story.
I think I have an idea.
Oh,
So my idea would be that it's similar to yours, but a different angle. So somehow, like Frieza Force will learn that, you know, the Earthlings are leaving Earth and trying to find those Dragon Balls, like somehow through listening on the comms of the spaceships, and those guys would be the agents of Frieza Force that would like get the intel from the heroes by searching for the Dragon Balls, essentially.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, so they would be agent of Frieza from the very beginning.
Very interesting.
Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe we'll have that for like a lightning round or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Polo, what if Goku had been adopted by a loving couple instead of an old man? Would he have been more likely to be a mama's boy or a daddy's boy? Again, it's hard to say because if they found him, that parent couple, they probably would have ended up being really scared by the fact that their child was a really rabid young boy and stuff like that. Yeah, because, you know, the whole bump to the head, remember? They'd probably either be very scared, not know what to do, try and love him, or abandon him. Like, it depends on the type of couple. If it's like a young couple and they're very fickle, they could just abandon him, like, and leave him to kind of, like, yeah, fend for himself.
They would be called Monatan and Jarta.
Oh?
Jonathan and Martha Kent.
Oh God, no.
Oh no. Oh.
Monatan and Jarta.
Totally. Oh.
That was a horrible joke, Haverok.
I know.
Gosh,
Oh.
And I haven't never been prouder of my horrible joke.
Oh. Oh, so basically, oof. Okay. Mike Bregman. What if Gohan had to fight serious PTSD from failing his dad back in the Cell games? Well, he kind of sort of did for that 7 years. He basically, in order to try and, like, fend it off, he kind of, like, put his efforts into studying and, like, taking care of the family that he was, because he was the man of the house now. So he had to, like, take care of, you know, Chi-Chi, who was, you know, pregnant at the time with Goten. And he had to do a lot. So I would say that he probably could have had PTSD if he didn't have to be so busy as a kid. But if he did, I imagine probably it could have been another catalyst to him failing, and then Spopovich and Yamu like draining his energy with Goku there, like kind of throwing him off his like guard and throwing him off his groove or something like that. Could be.
That could almost certainly cause Majin Gohan.
Yeah, Majin. Oh, that could be a good in for Majin Gohan. Yes. Cool. Paparacha. What if Goku went to fake Namek, was otherwise delayed from getting to Namek before the Ginyus killed Gohan and Krillin? Probably if they did, they probably, they would try and read his mind and be going like, oh my god, there's nothing there. Oh, this guy is totally pointless. And Goku's like, what?
Oh right, I found a good bacon recipe. Maybe it's not so.
Oh,
What?
he's not
But
so
no.
bad. Oh, he's
But
not
what's
All
bad.
I
bacon?
see is thoughts of food.
Oh, that just makes me more hungry and remember the old country. They just tell him to go because it brings back bad memories. Like, I miss the culinary excellence of my homeland. They just reminded them how desperate they are to leave. Zeltic, what if Frieza kept the Saiyans in his army? Well, if Frieza kept the Saiyans, so basically if they didn't destroy Planet Vegeta, probably he would just end up like giving them like the worst missions ever, like the hardest missions, the thankless missions and stuff like that. Just try and wear them down to the point where, you know, they are so broken and demoralized. There's no way they can like have an overthrowing or something like that. So it'd be basically kind of breaking the spirit. And yeah,
Either they would break totally, or some Saiyan would get so pissed at some point that they would break Frieza and go Super Saiyan.
they break him like a Kit Kat bar,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Either like it would end badly, either badly for Frieza, but a bit later, or badly for the Saiyans.
It would end up badly for somebody, totally.
Or for both of them, because then King Cold would have gone with the retribution and scorched them.
True. Dark Snake X5. What if Chi-Chi's mother was a Saiyan? So, if Ox King somehow married a Saiyan and Chi-Chi was half Saiyan, well, she would have a tail for a start at the start. She might have a better understanding about, she might have the rage boost that Gohan has.
Yep.
So,
but
she'd definitely be more inclined towards training in martial arts.
If not, she'd at least understand. Like, she would get it. So it'd be kind of like a much more kind of like settled lifestyle. Yeah.
Oh my! Can you imagine Chi-Chi defeating Goku and Piccolo Jr. at World Tournament?
Oh yes, it's like, would you kids just pipe down? Boom.
I kind of like this idea only to do this someday.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That could be fun. Paparazzi here again. Says, Good Boy 21 can have kids. What if Piccolo had a kid? Well, I think Piccolo eventually probably would have a kid. Like, but not for like several decades. Because right now, he is relatively juvenile. Like, he's like in his 20s right now in a way. Like, late 20s, early 30s and stuff like that. So in terms of a Namekian, he's actually relatively young. So,
and before you guys tell, yes, 21 is younger, but he's developed to mature faster.
And you also got to remember that 21's mentality is that he bounced back quite well from having the whole like evil scientist father on account of the fact that he actually views his parentage closer to being like Bulma and the others,
Yeah.
Piccolo has a lot of deep-seated daddy issues, I believe, just because of knowing where he comes from and stuff like that. I mean, like, just the fact that they were able to play with that a bit in Team 4 Star's DBZA, was interesting to me because it's true. He's grown up not knowing whether or not he was a separate being from Piccolo Daimao, or he should be considered the son, therefore still a part of that legacy. He had to grow as a character spiritually enough to be able to eventually rejoin Kami. But at the same time, I think that he's still very, very much of a mindset that he isn't ready for his own child.
No.
But he finds fulfillment in his relationship with Gohan and later his relationship with Pan. So I don't think he's in any kind of hurry.
No, I don't think so. I think I couldn't agree more, Sophie. But yeah, no, I'd say he just needs more time. Like, probably when like Gohan, they're like much older and stuff. Yeah, they kind of moved on, certain way. All right, EC Cones. What if Bra was in the future a year younger than Trunks, who's killed with Gohan, so she goes back in time but has to navigate the Cell Saga before she is born? So basically, the same thing that happens with Trunks, but with Bra. Probably there probably might be a much more difficult time to try and convince that she's not the daughter of Bulma, because they look so alike.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, they'd be able to figure it out and be like, there's no... Bulma would know. Just Bulma would know. And it'd be just like...
Then again, there is a situation where they might be just inclined enough because they aren't like ready to believe in time travel.
Yeah.
They might just be inclined to believe that it's one of those situations where you meet like your twin from another country. That sort of situation.
I mean, you had Maron, who was basically more busty version of Bulma.
Maron was the ditzy
pretty much
filler.
Well, definitely chest filler. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my
god, Mas.
Oh, sorry. Oh, hey, don't look at it.
Don't try to blame it on Toriyama. You brought it up.
Now I'm saying, don't judge me. I didn't come up with Maron.
Blame Toriyama for my thoughts.
Toriyama's
foot police.
Okay. Sassy Cat. How is the master list of what-ifs coming along? Oh yeah, because there is the master list of what-ifs that a very, very dedicated fan came up with. Let's see, but basically it's there's a lot of them. So I'm just keeping an eye on it, and there's like nearly 50 different what-if scenarios that I've made. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Some of them need to be finished. I mean, some of them are completed, but yeah, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Wilma 10. What if King Vegeta sent Tarble to Earth? Well, if King Vegeta sent Tarble to Earth, that could be interesting if, like, Tarble and Goku met in, like, eventually. Like, there was something about their energies, which Goku would be able to sense energy, and Tarble would be around there. Like, Goku feels this energy that feels very similar to his. So that could be, like, an interesting reunion.
Yeah. I like this idea. That could work really well.
We'll make a note of it. All right. Zach Hubert, thank you very much for your contribution. Just a blank one. Paparacha, what if the Shadow Dragons were used as the driving force in a modern game? Well, the Shadow Dragons, in theory, their premise is brilliant. I think it's great. It's just the trouble is that they need to be rewritten and redesigned in some ways, because having 7 dragons and only 3/4 look cool. Like, is it a 6-star dragon? Like the lady-looking one that turns into that kind of like sea creature or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That one would look pretty cool if that was her only form. If that was her only form, that'd be great diversity. But the rest of it, having like 3 look consistently cool. That's a bit like, yeah. Toriyama's not designing this series.
I still think that
the laziness of Nuova and Ice Shinron.
Yeah, they look the same.
Even though Ice and even though Nuova is probably the most interesting one in terms of personality.
Pokemon Nova, Pokemon Nova, and Pokemon Ice, pretty much. When you boil that down.
Yeah.
Easy Cones. What if Frieza did nothing wrong? Well, it depends on who's asking. If it was a Frieza minion, then no, of course, Lord Frieza did nothing wrong. It was for the good of the universe.
And we are still close to Frieza Day, so look out with those questions.
Yes, so be careful. It is very close to Frieza Day.
If Frieza did nothing wrong, he would probably have a reputation more like Frost. The problem is that Frost, so far as anybody can see, is a solo. Doesn't have a King Cold sort of situation going on. He doesn't have a brother like Cooler going on.
He has his crew. That's the only thing he has.
Yeah, he has his crew, and even then, he's still a liar, But Frieza I think Frieza being a good boy is hard to justify in any way other than perhaps like you've done recently, Moss, with your what if for Frieza, with the fact that King Cold kind of disowns him when he finds out how much of a failure he is. I feel like if Frieza was too much of a goody goody, King Cold would never have handed the reins of the Empire over to him and would have probably found a way of kind of getting him out of his hair, so to speak, and going back to the drawing board.
It's easier to write. Yeah, it's easier to write a totally new character than making Frieza good from the start. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's okay.
No,
I was
it's
pretty
all
much.
No, that's fair enough. Zach
Yeah.
Hubert, based on Launch's hair/rage situation, what if Launch was a Super Saiyan? Oof. Well, in terms of her overall power, it wouldn't really mean much in the overall scheme of things, but if it basically made her more of a challenge, then Goku would probably actually really would want to train with her. To kind of like, yeah, in terms of focusing rage and stuff like that. And she probably would benefit from like actually being able to chill out a bit more in the blonde mode. In some way. Knowing that there is this one kid who no matter what she does, she can't beat. Or like can't like, you know, stop. Something like that. Basically, what happens in Dragon Ball already, but just a bit quicker.
Also, I think that if Launch was a Super Saiyan, considering her fairly low power level, it would kind of imply that her Super Saiyan transformation is a factor of genetics, which would mean that she's probably a mutant type of some kind, like Broly. She just doesn't get the same degree of power boost from her transformation. But I suspect that if she were a Saiyan and she were to train with Goku and stuff like that, she would see a lot of growth. In that same form, so I think we would be seeing a lot of her also as a fighter and a member of the team. She wouldn't get forgotten like a certain author did to her.
Now who's blaming Toriyama?
Everyone.
Oh, okay. Let's move on. Paparazzi. What if Tao turned good? Well, basically, I would say the only way he could probably turn good is if he basically just woke up one day and says, I quit being an assassin. And he'd be just like, he would just like be, I'm done. Because that's what he did. He's not a bad guy. He's just doing his job. That's the thing. He is a mercenary paid to be bad and commit bad stuff. So if he ended up earning enough money to retire, he'd just end up like moving, probably like having a quiet life and just be like, I'm out of the game and stuff like that.
I can see that story, you know, aging mercenary on his last job before
Tao.
retirement.
It's old Tao.
It's old man Tao, yeah.
Old
last
Tao.
job.
General Tao.
The last lick of Tao.
It's General Tao's chicken.
Yeah, he opens up a store. Yeah. Paparazzi again. What if future Vegeta survived but was, you know, incapacitated? If future Vegeta did survive, we'd have a Polnareff situation almost in part 5. He'd basically just be in a wheelchair and he'd be just like one of these people offering advice. He'd be like the sensei with a stick, like while Gohan and Trunks are training. It says, "No, you're not doing it well enough," and stuff like that.
Do you really think Vegeta would like to be alive in a wheelchair?
Yeah, I think Vegeta's...
He probably would continue for as long as he could, but eventually it'd get to a point where he'd probably be in one too many battles, and he would just, like, welcome the embrace of death.
Well, and I think that Vegeta's biggest thing has always been his pride.
Yeah.
If Vegeta was brought to a point to where he could no longer fight, he could no longer train, he could no longer do any of that because he was crippled, I think Vegeta's the kind of person who would sooner be dead than disabled. He's definitely that kind of bitter soul, and I think that what he would probably be doing is, if he was crippled, I think he would be searching for any means, Dragon Ball or otherwise, maybe even cybernetic enhancements, in order to change that situation, because he wouldn't accept it.
But if it wasn't possible, I would imagine he'd be in a wheelchair for a while, hate it, but say, I have to at least train or at least get these kids up to snuff before, you know, but then eventually it'd just be one too many fights and he'd have to, like, sacrifice himself in some way, using energy to kind of fly into the androids and explode himself. That'd be the only way he could do it. In a way.
I could see a sacrificial, Vegeta bomb going on.
Yeah, I think that's the only way that could make it work. Chibi Arcade. What if Broly, Vegeta, and Goku have tribes of Saiyans that fight against each other? So it's like Spore, but with Saiyans. So basically, if they have their own clans and stuff like that, Goku's would be very diplomatic in terms of food, so long as you have a good food crop supply. Vegeta would be just all about war, and Broly would be just that one tribe who doesn't really do anything, but nobody knows how strong they are, so they just stay away from them. It's like,
No, they would be hunters. They would tame animals. They would tame animals.
Yeah, no, but they'd be strong, but they'd be very good-natured. They'd be very strong, but nobody knows how strong.
Yeah. Again, close to nature, close to animals,
Broly love nature, stuff like that. Nene Sword.
And nature loves Broly.
What if future Gohan developed a key arm technique? Okay, so basically make an arm out of ki. In a way, that you could, in theory, do that, because nowadays, a lot of characters know basic telekinesis. So in a way, Gohan could almost like have some kind of phantom appendage. Like, it's not, if he was able to like train in a way where he could actually manifest a key from a area where his hand used to be, and he could also control things with it, so he can actually grip things with two arms, air quotes.
Hopefully he wouldn't share that with Roshi.
Oh no. I'm the man of 1,000 hands. Where they are, nobody knows.
Like,
okay, let's move on. Podo.
Let's move on.
Considering how passionate Yamcha and Bulma were with each other in early Dragon Ball, what if one night they had an accident where Bulma ended up pregnant? How radically would the timeline change?
Well, it would definitely mean no Bulma and Vegeta, because I know that Yamcha is the kind of person I think who would be very, very devoted in that sense.
He felt responsible. Yeah. And Vegeta would like not want to. He would not want to, have relations with somebody who'd already been with someone, like you're damaged goods, Earthwoman, stuff like that. A conquest or something like that. It would hurt his pride. His very sore, timid little baby pride. His fifis would be hurt. And stuff like that. So basically we'd have no Trunks, or at least not a Trunks as you'd know it. So,
we would have a Yamcha and Bulma baby, which could be cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we have in What If Nappa.
Exactly. That is very true. Brian Kubero, Valentine's Day What If? What if Goku married Suno? I would
People
say,
really like this one.
I would say basically he'd probably go and live around Muscle Village, and like he'd be in the town. He'd be basically out in the ice worlds and stuff like that. He probably would quite like it out of training and stuff like that. He'd always wear a jacket. Suno, a little bit clingy, but otherwise nice.
Would be much more inclined to let Goku train and probably train their son.
That's what she
red-haired Gohan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very much so. Oh, okay, cool.
Or maybe a daughter.
Or maybe a daughter. Yes, I would be fine with this.
Yeah. But I think that Andy Suno would be very meek and submissive towards Goku, which wouldn't be the best thing for him.
Basically, you'd have a smart half Saiyan. You basically have Carl Weezer of the Dragon World. It's like, my name's Gohan Jimmy Kun.
And this is my favorite technique, Kai Croissant.
Kai Croissant.
Croissant.
Okay. Reaper 857. What if Beerus went to the demon realm, found a Super Saiyan demon? So basically, if he found just the opposite, this is grunge emo. This is grunge emo Beerus with white skin and black hair slicked down over one eye. It's like Beerus was not feeling happy with the state of the world. He goes down to hell to find a Super Saiyan demon.
Basically,
he finds it in the way of Ukog. He is a black-haired Saiyan with the one strand slipped over his eye. Why? Because it's emo.
Ow,
Sounds-
the edge. Enough.
Sounds like
This is
sounds like
Super
Dragon Ball
Saiyan
AF.
Edge.
Sounds like Dragon Ball AF very much.
No, it just
Oh,
reminds me
gosh.
of Cold Steel, the Hedgehog. Oh, this is Super Saiyan Edge. Okay, let's move on. This is out of my throat. Paparacha, what if Goku landed on the BGS instead of Yardrad? BGS? Oh. What does that mean?
The big getister.
Oh, the
Big
big
Getister.
Getister. Oh, okay. Oh, of course, the big Getister. Got it. I'd probably say that if he did, he would probably he'd be very incapacitated. He'd be barely alive because he was exhausted. The big Getister would have a lot to play with.
Big Getester would disassemble him and make him a part of his cybernetic mass.
At the very least, it would recognize its power with Goku's power and just take control of his mind, and like use him as like kind of a scout drone to try and gather strong fighters and stuff like that.
Was that power so high at this point?
It was certainly a lot higher than what Frieza was registering, or at
Yeah.
least in terms of the potential and stuff like that. So maybe, okay. Any story with the big Getister gets favor in my book.
Yeah.
Teddy Bear Harv. What if Goku married Krillin instead of Chi-Chi? Aw.
Well, I mean, he definitely loves Krillin. I can tell that much. Like we've seen all of his biggest emotional moments come with Krillin.
And Roshi.
Back in the era of Demon King Piccolo, he gets really moved when Krillin dies. He's moved to Super Saiyan levels during the Namek saga. Honestly, I think that if they were married, all it would really mean is we wouldn't have Gohan, of course.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have any of the kids,
Mhm.
but we would see Krillin and Goku probably get a lot stronger because they have that shared bond over training.
No, I could see exactly those connections. Definitely, kind of, the ante would be upped. Certainly. Definitely. Okay, that's a nice bit of a twist. Okay. Wilmar 10. What if Gohan saved Zangya? Well, okay. This is kind of like almost basically like a what if Zangya turned good situation, or at least we'd have a similar Android 18 scenario in my opinion. Because Zangya was cast away by Bojack, like to be used by him. So if Zangya was like cast aside, she's the only surviving member, and Gohan just basically told her to get out of there, because she hadn't actually, in theory, done anything wrong at that time. Yeah, it was more like kind of like Bido and Gokua and stuff like that. So. Zangya probably would be spared, but you basically have like an Android 18 type of vibe. So Zangya would probably just escape and stuff like that. And you probably never hear from her again, but she'd just be out there, ready to be exploited for any desperate Dragon Ball Super writer. Yes. Just say, oh no, we gotta fight Zangya because she's back. And stuff like that.
Or you would have something like rivalry between her and 18, but
totally.
at some point they would have to team up against the last remaining Jiro droid, and they would become besties.
Oh, okay.
Or you could have Zangya show up sometime in like the Super timeline after a lot of time has happened, and Gohan is an adult, trying to win Gohan away from Videl, which just won't work.
And hook her up with Yamcha.
Hook her up with Yamcha.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's gotta love
Yamcha is a sweetheart. She would like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, driver's line. How can I share one of my written ideas to you? Well, you can either do it here, or you can do it on the subreddit r/MasakoX. That's the best way to leave it. Podo. What if instead of doing physical damage, the spirit bomb destroyed all the evil in the target's soul? A turn good bomb, if you will. Oh, so basically, it would be Goku almost going like, Moon Healing Activation! Stuff like that. It'd be basically just Sailor Moon.
You guys know what I'm about to ask for. Goku as Sailor Moon fan art. Get on it.
Yes.
This has already been done. I think this has already been done.
I'm sure it has.
You just want more of it.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm going to say this much. I think that for certain characters, the Spirit Bomb would probably do just as it did with Kid Buu. I feel like certain characters in the story are evil enough that even if it was just a sort of purge evil technique, it would result in the person being purged more or less dying because too much of their soul is composed of evil.
Exactly. With Kid Buu, there was no good there.
Mm-hmm.
There was no good there
so like kills Kid Buu, probably
Frieza
would
would become
Frieza.
he would become amnesiac and nearly comatose.
Oh gosh, could you just kind of see like a comatose Frieza who's kind of sitting in a mental hospital until one day, in the style of The Dark Knight Returns, he sees Goku on the television and of his evilness come back to him.
You want to know how I got these scars? And here we go. Okay. Isaiah Johnson. What if Cooler owned the Saiyan's race instead of Frieza? So, okay, if it was the Cooler Force. Cooler is a much more methodical person than Frieza. As in, like, he would be one of those people that, you know, he would get things done very methodically. He would probably have a very kind of, like, nasty streak like Frieza, but is able to temper it. Like, if he knows that he can see some potential use in something like that, then, you know, he would probably be like his father, almost.
Okay, monkeys, here's the deal. You do a job for me, you get food and technology. I leave you alone. But if you fail, I'm offing one of you.
No, if your planet's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I'll blow your planet up if you don't do good.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Yeah, he would off like a major battalion of people just to prove his point. So it'd be a mix of the two.
But I can imagine him having his favorite Saiyan elites in Cooler Force.
Okay. Yeah. Wilma 10. What if King Cold fought Trunks in his final form? I would say it wouldn't be a challenge at all. Because it wasn't a challenge for Mecha Frieza, and Mecha Frieza is meant to be stronger than Final Form Frieza. And we all know that King Cold, in theory, his final form is stronger than Frieza. So I would say, at best, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, like, impossible to beat, King Cold's final form probably would be like a 4. Like, you know, Trunks could take him quite handily. It'd be a bit tougher than Frieza, but, you know, he'd be able to outsmart him. Because, again, King Cold doesn't fight. He doesn't need to fight because he thinks he's superior. Just the same pratfalls as Frieza did. Just that kind of thing.
He didn't expect that Trunks to be that strong.
He had no plan. He had no plan for it. So therefore he's kind of toast. Seaton 2000. Failed Patara fusion name idea for Kale and Caulifla. Kale. Well, I think we actually do that. Kale is I think in our GT edition.
Yeah.
So we do have that name already, Seaton, but good idea.
Calf.
Anime Guy 01. What if the mermaid in Dragon Ball actually stuck around? Well, the trouble is, though, you know, I don't think we'll ever see them again, but it's okay. There's plenty of fish in the sea.
And I am the one making bad jokes.
If I was in the same room with you, you would be so slapped right now.
Alright, let's move on. Wilma 10. What if Piccolo trained with Whis? If Piccolo did, well, there is, you know, I don't know. I think Whis would train almost like a token gesture, but ultimately there's not, you know, Whis would probably say, you do know, Piccolo, there's not much more I can teach you unless you start fusing with more Namekians, you're not going to get much stronger.
Maybe he would teach him different things, you know, more spiritual things.
Yeah, he would, but he would probably say you're going to hit a ceiling much sooner than the Saiyans will, unless you fuse with other Namekians.
you know, maybe bring some more of those slack people that you have. You know,
Yeah, he'd
of
probably
your
say, I can
kind.
teach you only so much, but unless you're willing to fuse with other Namekians, the number of lessons we're going to have will be short.
Yeah, well, then that's the big thing too. Is I think at this point most of Piccolo's growth doesn't come from physical training anymore. I think a lot of Piccolo's growth is very much oriented in the spiritual and meditation and stuff like that. It's part of the reason why he was pretty much the perfect mentor to bring out the power in Gohan again. Honestly, I think Piccolo would probably see more gains training with the Yardratian.
Yeah,
Yes.
He would.
I was thinking
Whis.
the same way. Yeah.
No, definitely. Yardrat would probably be much better. In fact, for nearly every single character, you just need to kind of like... They're basically galactic calibrators of your power.
I wonder if they're about to destroy Yardrat at this point of the story and send Yardratians to Earth, because according to Toriyama, this does happen. So maybe it's in this arc. Maybe they are hinting at this.
Yeah, because basically, if Yardrat was left alone, it'd be just like, oh, everyone would just go there. Like, so they need to kind of put a lid on it almost.
Yeah, but you know, you have Yardratians on Earth, and that could give a lot of cool stuff. If Moro destroys the Yardrat and Yardratians were okay, there is not much of us. We're moving to Earth.
Instant transmission, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Basically, blowing up Yardrat, Moro thinks, ha 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 ha, I did a bad thing! And then everyone goes like, huh, sucks to be him, we just teleported somewhere else. Yeah, it's just like, it doesn't really mean anything, it's just a planet, dude. Chill out. Okay, Anime Guy 001, what if you guys were awesome? Oh wait, you are.
Oh, thank you.
Alright, thank you, Anime Guy. Let's move on. JRC. What if Goku discovered the Wrathful and Berserker forms instead of Super Saiyan 3? That would be more interesting than Super Saiyan 3. As in, like, if it was the Wrathful form, and Goku it basically led to Berserk. Like, Wrathful form, he just keeps getting stronger and stronger, but loses more and more control. And basically, it's, like, against Boo. And Boo's just, like, meant to be chaos. And would be like, yeah, woo, Boo think you're too crazy!
Yeah, I think it could be the first situation when Boo would be scared.
Boo would be actually scared because he has no idea how to handle it. It's like,
yeah,
Boo think I'm underprepared for this!
yeah.
Boo,
oh,
Boo thinks mistakes
were made!
It's like, wow, this is too much for Boo!
Boo wants to rethink his life! Boo wants to take up college!
Boo needs to reevaluate his life! Boo go Coleg!
Yeah.
Alright, okay. John Coleman. What if Jiro saw what happened on Namek? Well, if he did, if he understood and found out about the Super Saiyan power, he'd be able to handle it. And you'd almost have the power of Android 17 and 18 and 19 and 20. They'd be toast. And they wouldn't, and 17 and 18 would not be activated. So therefore, no Cell, unless he was able to find a way to Jiro's lab. And activate them and get them in there. So basically, Cell would be like left prowling around for longer. But ultimately, you know, Jiro would be the ones. Jiro and 19 would be the ones to off the Dragon Team.
Yeah. One of the most interesting ideas would be to make Jiro being able to synthesize S cells. You know,
like
creating synthetic S cells and improving himself and the androids.
So he becomes a Super Saiyan, sort of.
Yeah.
Him being able to figure out the genetic methodology behind the Super Saiyan transformation. That is definitely one of the things I was kind of exploring in one of my early concepts before I started the channel, was the idea of if Jiro had had an opportunity to study the Super Saiyan transformation, like, for example, if his probes hadn't gotten destroyed.
Okay. No, it's certainly a very good point, because my wife Philly, she is a biologist, and we've done a few videos together about the premise. So they're always very good. They're always very fun ideas to actually discover. But yeah, that's cool, John. Thank you. Uzumaki Hyuga, thank you very much for your contribution. GRC again. What if Babidi commanded Dabura to bring strong demons from the demon realm to help revive Majin Buu? He is the king of the demons after all. Well,
I think Babidi was afraid that the demons could get Dabura back.
yeah, and also I don't think the demons would take too kindly to this little potato head man enslaving their king. They'd be just like, yeah, no, give him back now, or we're gonna kill you.
Also, from now on, from what we know now, we know that Dabura, I think, is king of one of the realms in the demon realm, basically, because demon realm is huge.
Yeah, but basically,
So-
I think any king, I think you get to call yourself the king of the demons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, because
Yeah.
either way, I don't think they'd take too kindly to seeing him being enslaved. They'd
No,
be just like,
no.
no, you know, release him, or we're going to drag you down to hell. So I would say, if he did, Dabura would do it, but then not, and then Babidi would realize that he just basically did a massive oopsie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically you just end up doing that. Monsterland. What if Raditz killed Piccolo before he went to the island? I mean, he gave Goku 12 hours, and they have a time chamber. Well, at the time, Goku, the memory of being in the time chamber was relatively new with Goku, and I don't think he'd want to go back in there, no matter what. And also, Piccolo, yeah, Raditz would probably skulk around a little more, just to kind of like, you know, observe what they're up to, and then try and like get that one big power like away from the group. So in a way, I would say he probably would do that.
Yeah.
And also, but yeah, Goku would definitely not go in the time chamber because it's like it's too raw for him right now.
The time chamber is something that you have to utilize sparingly.
Yeah.
Part of the only reason that I even used it in the What If Krillin AU on my channel was mostly just because of the fact that everybody around was desperate. Like the Roshi was like, we only have a toddler and a and essentially and Krillin. The thing about Krillin is a very, very talented warrior, but when he is the last hope universe, essentially, it is a very, very very desperate. So I don't think that they would be prepared to utilize the time chamber unless they had no other choice. And you really have to approach writing it that way if you're going to write it for the early sagas, because it is something of a deus ex machina in a very literal sense, considering that it's up on God's house.
Yeah, exactly. No, you have to treat it very carefully. Let's see. EC Cones. What if Bra, Goten, and a Kid Vegeta were the main characters of GT? It'd be more interesting, that's for sure. Goten would have a redemption arc. And
let's redeem GT Goten, please.
Yeah, the redemption arc for Goten. Bra...
What if Goten turned good?
Oh, what if Goten turned good again?
Yes.
Oh, jeez. What if Wilma 10? What if Piccolo learned the Kaioken when he died? So basically, if he like bullied King Kai, saying, "Hey, I want to learn the Kaioken, and you're going to teach me." So basically, if Piccolo actually applied himself and learned the Kaioken, you know, a lot of people have said that he could go really far because, you know, if he busts a limb, he could just regenerate it. Obviously, to a point, you couldn't keep on doing it in one stint because you'd run out of energy, you'd be exhausted.
Yeah, well, but he could be more effective than Saiyan.
Piccolo's healing is also slower than, like, say, for example, Cell.
Yeah.
So you could take it to a certain, his body will regenerate it, but don't forget that, you know, certain degrees of damage are too much for Piccolo's regeneration, as we have seen in stuff like the Saiyan saga and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I think the initial gain would be bigger than on Saiyans. Like...
Oh, absolutely. Definitely bigger than your typical Saiyans gains.
The progress would be much faster.
Yeah, if you like this idea, that this is something that we are doing in our What If Goku beat Roshi, so you'll see.
Yeah, so, you know, stay tuned
Piccolo with Kaioken.
Yeah. Reaper857. What if Beerus, while in pursuit of Super Saiyan God, heard of a Saiyan survivor in the demon realm who has been killing countless demons and absorbing demon ki to survive? An anti-super... Oh, Reaper, you've said this one before. But basically, it'd be the return of Super Saiyan Edge.
Yeah, but if we are trying to be serious, to
Okay,
not,
I know.
sound like we are ridiculing you.
No. I'm not. Of course not.
Yeah. I know, but I know, but so.
Oh yeah, no, of course. But basically,
to get to this,
yeah, no, if it would happen,
there must have we must have a reason. This Saiyan to get into the demon realm.
Maybe
might
it
be
could
one
be
of the...
Yamoshi, like Yamoshi in a way.
Yeah.
As in, like after he basically sacrificed himself, he basically made his own mission to go down into the demon realm to try and basically redeem it, or kind of like way to make it work.
Or the other way around, one of the evil Saiyans who got banished to the demon realm.
Oh yeah. Oh cool. So basically, in a way to survive, he made his own Super Saiyan power.
Yeah.
Okay, that could work. That's cool. So one of the ancient Saiyans. Nice.
Yep.
Uzumaki Hyuga. What if Cooler fought Frieza for the Cold Empire? So basically, if it was like almost like a Wakanda thing. So in order to become the new emperor, you had to fight each other. Well, in theory, Cooler would win because he has the fifth form. Frieza would lose. So
at the point of the Frieza. Yeah.
At the time of DragonBallZ, obviously.
Yeah.
So basically, in short, Cooler would win. Dark Snake X5. What if Boo, after seeing Hercule close bond with his daughter, Videl decides to create a daughter? What name would you give her? So basically, if Boo had a kid, well, actually, they do have kids. That is what happens in Dragon Ball Online.
Yeah.
Boo gets lonely. He reads Mr. Satan's books and makes a partner called
Mrs. Boo.
Or Mrs. Boo.
He performs booby for the sake of creating himself a girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then he creates the whole Majin race. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Basically, yeah. So. Okay. No. That it's pretty much, if you go to look on Dragon Ball Online, you pretty much get your idea with that one.
Yeah, but if you want a name, like B is taken, Ba is taken.
Bay.
Oh my Bay. Bay. Okay.
You don't hurt my Bay! Toriyama would do it.
Yeah.
Toriyama would do it.
Yeah.
I want fan art of Bay.
Bay. And his son, the famous movie director, Bay.
Just spelled differently.
Oh no!
He would make his own explosions with the Ki Blast.
No, all his techniques are explosions.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Monsterland. What if Goten and Bra were born first? Or what if all the known siblings in Dragon Ball were twins? I'm jumping the shark on the latter one. Well, Dragon Ball does have a history of having, like, pairs. A lot of the time, characters who are in pairs or in a duo. So that's not that far-fetched in a way. But if Goten and Bra were born first, Goten's a very placid being, so he doesn't have the rage boosts. So probably it would not be that good, because Raditz, Goten would have been kidnapped by Raditz. He wouldn't have had the rage boost. He'd just be banging on the the door of the of the actual pod, but not getting nowhere. So he'd be kidnapped. So it would just... I'm going to play the sound.
If we are going...
Go on.
If they somehow survive through the Frieza saga, we assume that it somehow turned up well enough for them to reach older age, and we go to the Android saga and make it the original timeline before time travel, we might get a situation when Goten would mentor Bula, and she would develop a crush on Goten. Goten would have to be the mentor, but his style of fighting would be and teaching would be very much different than Gohan, I feel. And Gohan's.
Oh, it's certainly different, I would say. Okay, next one up is Easy Cohen's thoughts on Dragon Ball Multiverse. From what I've seen, I really like it, but I really need to catch up with it. I'm way behind.
I haven't read it in years. What I did enjoy was seeing different versions of the characters. What I didn't enjoy is that it very, very much is pardon the parlance, but it's very, very much Saiyan wank.
Yeah.
And I also don't care for what they did with the characterization of Bull raised by Vegito. And it's got its ups and downs. It's a very, very mixed bag, but it's still enjoyable just there for the fights.
Yeah, a lot of wonky designs. Some cool ideas, like seeing King Cold's form. I think they were the first one who did the artwork of such quality. For example, if you are a Frieza race fan, that's kind of cool. A lot of unnecessary fan service.
Yeah.
A lot of that, but I think they were the first one who were toying with the idea of the turtle hermit Krillin, which is an idea that I love.
The problem with the turtle hermit Krillin, though, is they also make him pretty weak.
Yeah.
And I don't care for that. They make a lot of the humans pretty weak, which I don't care for. An issue with a lot of fan projects in the Dragon Ball universe is that Saiyans take priority, and it's bothersome and tiring.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. It's very true. It is very true.
Yeah.
But alas, Saiyans are marketable, unfortunately.
Marketing,
yeah. Deltic, what if Earth was in control of the Frieza Force since the beginning? Do you think the Z Warriors could be an elite Z Force? Well, if Frieza basically had control of the planet since, the day the Dragon Ball started, Capsule Corp would be, pretty much... Bulma would have no ability to be a free spirit to go on summer vacation with the Dragon Balls. They wouldn't know about the Dragon Balls. Or, if they did, there'd be no way to actually utilize them, because Capsule Corp, as the biggest production of tech on Earth, would be then, kind of charged by the Frieza Force to, provide their own layer, to pump out tech in that region.
Could you imagine having, Tien, Chiaotzu, Krillin, Yamcha, and Yajirobe as, as one of the squads, a la Ginyu, but much weaker, but with their dance and stuff.
Choreography.
Yeah. Who would be the leader? I think Tien would be the leader.
Oh yeah, no, seriously, because he's the one that takes it seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, Chiaotzu would be the Guldo of the group.
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
Because he's the one with the freaky powers.
Yeah, Yamcha would be Jace.
Well, pretty much in hair and all.
Yeah.
Alright, next up, Podo. In the context of my Goku adopted by a loving couple question, the couple I had in mind was Toriel and Asgore when they were still together. So I can decide whose accent to give them in my what if. Oh, okay, so if it was Toriel and Asgore, no, they're basically big, they're big animal bear people. Oh, this would be no problem for them.
Goat bear people.
They're goat bear people. So basically, they
Oh my god, what if Moro is Azriel?
Oh.
Excuse me, I think you mean the god of hyper death.
Yes.
Oh, okay. More Undertale references. Let's move on. Master Riku, what if Bulma found a way to reprogram 17 and 18 before they awoke? Do you think she'd make them the best babysitters or fighters for the good side or something else? Well, I've had this in What If Goku Married Bulma Part 9, where she does reprogram them, but she does have a crisis, because she's not like Jiro. She does not want to, these are kids. She doesn't want to basically utilize them for their own good. So what she did in that story was to basically revert them back to the point just before Jiro started really tweaking with them. As far as they were concerned, they were just teenagers. So I think that's what she'd do. Like I did in that What If. She basically just set them free and just hope that they can actually live a life again. I just don't think she would utilize them because they are a bit unpredictable. So I think it's just pretty much doing what I did in the What If.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. The Giver of L. What if Tenshinhan on Piccolo or Piccolo trained on Yardrat early? Oh, this would be the ultimate thing that they could do. Can you imagine Tenshinhan and Piccolo actually focusing their spirit control, recalibrating their ki? They'd be really, really powerful. They'd be up there with the Saiyans.
Tien would have a chance. Tien or Piccolo would have a chance in defeating Semi-Perfects.
Yeah, no, basically they would actually, they benefit the most, as we talked about earlier. So definitely. Chris Martin, thank you very much for your contribution. Roy VR Aries, we need more Tarble. I think he has potential as Vegeta's little brother. Oh, he certainly has potential. Absolutely. Like with Vegeta, he does. But at the same time, though, he is more of a more placid mind and has grown up in a place where it pays to be peaceful. So he's just based on nurture, he's really not inclined to get stronger. But in terms of the potential being there, oh, absolutely.
I feel that one of the best things you could do with Tarble is to pair him with a non-powerful, physically powerful or more powerful than him, non-Saiyan character to kind of reverse the roles for him to be a support character for a non-Saiyan.
Yes, totally. Yeah, he as the accessory or the sidekick. Absolutely.
Sidekick, you know, like the brains of the operation, while somebody would be muscle. Yeah.
Absolutely. He'd be very good as an operator in The Matrix.
Yeah.
EC Cones, what if Zarbon was straight? Well, there's no need to say because Zarbon does have a girlfriend.
Yes.
That's what we implied. You know?
Who I am convinced is named Chuck.
It's short for Chuckette.
Don't you be the one to judge, Lord Frieza. I will judge whoever I want. You are in my employment. Alright, the Giver of L again. What if Trunks had his mother's intelligence? Well, he sort of does. He does have the intelligence. He's very, very good. He just doesn't have the application. Like, he doesn't have the enthusiasm for what his mother does. So, you know, he in theory is like one of these people. You know, he can take over Capsule Corp and run it well if he's in the mood to do it. So, if he did, well, he does have the mother's intelligence. He just needs the better question would be, what if Trunks had his mother's application?
Yeah,
totally. Chris Martin again. What if Videl was born a Saiyan? Forgot to add in the message. If Videl was born a Saiyan, her mood actually fits a Saiyan quite well. So it actually really fits. So I don't think really much would change, other than the fact that she'd have a tail. And
I think Spopovich would have a very bad day.
Oh yeah, no, Spopovich. Yeah,
and I don't feel bad for him. Yeah.
Oh no, Spopovich. No, I don't feel bad for him at all. No, he deserves it. Totally, absolutely. No, basically, if Videl kicked Spopovich, that head's going clean off.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah. Yeah,
totally.
definitely.
He deserves it. He totally deserves it. How dare he hurt Videl? I just find it really galling that they animate in the anime loads of the audience like cringing in horror. They're just going like, yeah, if they're animating that kind of horror, then you know, imagine that. Jeez. Oof. All right. Okay. So it's now gone 8:30 here. So what we're gonna say right now is that super chat submissions are closed. Thank you so much for doing so. We do have some backlog to get through. We just want to make sure that we're not here for 3 hours plus, because that is very, very tiring, and you don't get the best results. So, basically...
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but you got to remember that Masako and Haverok live in a time zone where it starts to get really late.
Yes. So basically, we want to be sure that we can provide the best answers possible.
And at the same time, we want to make those streams so people from different time zones can participate.
Yes, absolutely. So basically, you know, we don't want to go in too late. So we're just closing off submissions for super chats right now, but we still have plenty of content to get through. So thank you very much for your support. It is very greatly appreciated. Any super chats up to now are just purely for support, just so you know. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Is Paparacha. What if Kakarot was found by Roshi? So what if Goku was found by Roshi? Oh boy.
Goku was found by Roshi.
He'd become Roshi's errand boy, basically going to get him dirty magazines.
Let's just assume.
Okay,
let's assume that Roshi. Let's assume that Roshi does decide to raise the young Kakarot like a son. This presents an incredibly huge problem because it means that Goku is going to be taking after Roshi, which means he's going to be powerful, but he's also going to be a pervert.
Goku is very much like a sponge.
I'm trying to think if there's a suitable like character to compare him to, but it's just like he would have
I would say Krillin as a kid. Basically Kid Krillin.
Yeah, I mean, I could see. Yeah, he would have a personality that is much more similar to Kid Krillin. I can
and they
kind
would
of
butt
agree.
heads a lot when they meet.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And you just know that Goku would want to do tournaments because he's hoping to impress the chicks.
Yeah, right. Totally.
It's so not Goku.
It's so different. It's good in a way. Okay, Paparazzi again. What if Bulma just hires Tao? You know what? They probably could, but at the same time, though, I don't think Goku would approve.
Yeah, I don't even think Bulma would approve.
No, I mean, basically, I imagine the thought would cross her mind, because she does have those thoughts. Like with Jiro, she basically goes, "Hey, why don't we just take out Jiro before he can make them?" She does have those thoughts. Like those really convenient thoughts, but other people just like scupper it. So I would say that, she probably, if she did, just say for that she did, I imagine that she probably would feel really bad about doing it. Like she'd be betraying Goku, like saying, "Oh, what Goku would say, oh, what, I'm not good enough," or something like that.
Well, you just got to remember too, though, if we're, go ahead.
Dragon says makes a good point that Tao could become like a bodyguard.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem that Bulma would have with paying Tao to do any kind of active work for them would be the fact that he has killed, that he is an assassin,
and he has killer
and that he has
top.
Well, and I mean, and he has killed people who really, really did not deserve it, And so, if she was going to hire Tao for anything, I honestly feel like it would be a situation where she would just be like, "Look, tell me how much you're being paid by whoever, whether it's the Red Ribbon Army or somebody else. I will double it if you go and you just take a vacation for 6 months."
Yeah, so basically, I will pay you double to not do it.
Pretty much. Way,
but yeah, that's the best way, I would say. I think that's a good idea. Basically, just to neutralize him in a way. Because he is motivated by money. SeatonTube 2000. What if Cooler turned good now that you made Frieza good? I would say if Cooler went about that way, it'd be in a different manner. If Cooler did, it would only be out of necessity. Like, he would just say, out of logic, basically, the best way to kind of get what he wants is to kind of go by things in a different way. That's the only way he'd do it. He would just come he basically just in terms of logic, because Cooler is a more logical person than Frieza, so I'd say it'd be
he's very, very pragmatic. I honestly think that if Cooler were put in a position similar to Frieza, he'd act with a much more level head in a lot of situations. Frieza tends to get very like while he's calm at first, there are very specific things that can set him off, and yeah.
No, totally, I would say. Andrew Brooks. What if Captain Ginyu turned good? The form change could be very useful. Sorry. Well, we've talked about this many times, and Frieza would stamp any of that out immediately. But for the sake of the argument, saying the form change could be very useful, it indeed could be. In a way, he'd pretty much do what he did with Goku. As in with Frieza, he would get very close, injure himself, and do the change now. And Frieza would be just like, "You're really doing this." Yeah, and then basically not realizing what Ginyu had done. And just kind of be left incapacitated, not knowing what to do. Because at least Goku could fight, still, sort of. But not very well. Frieza could not defend himself in that body. Because he wouldn't know how. He's got no training.
So, and honestly,
Frieza would be
another
screwed.
thing... Well, and another thing is like, unlike with like Goku's power, which comes heavily from techniques and spiritual training and all that other kind of stuff, right? So when Ginyu stole Goku's body in the canon, he wasn't able to utilize all of the power. Frieza's power, on the other hand, is all just natural. He's had it since birth. It is part and parcel for his birth form. So if Ginyu were to, say, take Frieza's body, Ginyu would now have access to all of that power more or less off the bat. It would just take him a little while to get just used to the new body, and then bam, he'd have access to 120 units of battle power.
Okay, so I think that could work. The Giver of L again. What if Cooler was born good? I could see this happening because he was the black sheep anyway. He'd be more compelling if he wasn't Frieza too. Now, absolutely, he is the black sheep, and Cooler was deemed to be a failure by King Cold in some way. Like maybe he wasn't like, he was too conservative and too like restrained. Like because I think Cold wanted to make someone who was even worse than he, not the exact same. So I think basically Cold had made a clone of himself, and that's not what he wanted. He wanted like somebody who could be an absolute maniac, and that was what Frieza was. The pure evil ruler. So, I think if Cooler was born good, he'd almost be like one of these things, almost out of revenge. That's the only reason. Cooler's revenge would be against his own family. It wouldn't be out of pure morals. It would be basically, this is the best way to achieve my goal. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only
Definitely
way.
Personal vengeance.
Personal vengeance, absolutely. EC Combs, what if Trunks and Bra were twins? A lot of people ask this. But I would say if they were, then it would be not that much different. The only thing that would be different would be age. Just their mannerisms.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And the one big difference would probably be who to go to the past, because the time machine, regardless of what they wound up doing in Super, the time machine is only supposed to fit one person, and so knowing that Trunks and Bra would not both come to the past, so you'd still wind up with either future Trunks singular or future Bra singular coming back from the future to help them during the Android and Cell Saga. And what's more is that the only thing that you'd really get out of it during the Android and Cell Saga is that Bulma would be taking care of two babies. Come the Boo Saga, honestly, there's not a whole lot you can do with the characters just because of the confines of their age. They aren't at a good enough age to where they can make a big enough impact on the storyline, and even considering just like the addition of Bra, you'd still wind up in a situation where more than likely you'd still wind up with Gotenks, you'd still wind up with that same friend dynamic, you'd still wind up more or less with the same primary story beats. Bra would just kind of be along for the ride, and that's why it's a little bit difficult for that specific issue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Dealey Griff, how relevant is Oob in the original ending of Z? I'd say it's still really relevant. It's at the moment, the end of Z is still important, and it's still a very frustrating ending in a way. You can tell that Toriyama's so done with Dragon Ball at that time. Like, he's just so, I want to end this. I'm going to do everything possible to, like, to not have this happen. So basically, I would still... Oob is really relevant, and he is a good character. And I love how Toyotaro is fleshing out his development and his like, preparation for arriving in Dragon Ball. I love what
Oob
he's doing.
has the potential to be a great character. Yeah. He isn't as is, he isn't as currently we know him from things like End of Z and GT. He is not, but he has potential. It's just a matter of whether or not that potential is utilized to its fullest.
Okay. That's fair. Nene Sword. Point of clarification on my first question. I was basically asking what would happen if Vegeta and Goku got to have their fight at the Budokai before Gohan got his energy drained by Babidi's minions. Oh, okay. Well, if they did, then I would think Babidi would call Spopovich and Yamu off. Or basically just tell them, oh, create a distraction. Or something like that. That would, yeah, kind of move them off. Either that, or just find some way. Because I think Vegeta and Goku would be too powerful for Spopovich and Yamu to get close. Like, Goku is so on it. Yeah, basically, I think they would not be able to get anywhere near him. So it could actually lead to failure, and Babidi would have to basically tell Yamu to retreat. And basically just, like, retreat, and they'd have to reevaluate their plan to try and get them to lure them there. Either that, or kidnap Videl. That would be the only way to do it.
Oh God! Don't damsel Videl.
I'm just saying that'd be the only way to do it in a way that would be befitting of 90s anime. If it were up to me, though, I would have it in a way that basically Babidi would have to reevaluate their plan. They'd have to basically go in there. He would have to be there to use magic. To stop, to kind of almost like to control, to like restrain them.
Yeah, he would have to be present to more manipulate the scenario to his desired outcome.
Yeah, no, definitely. So Babidi would have to be there. So Babidi would have to be like, looks like I have to do this job myself. And stuff like that. Pretty much. The Azure David. What if Vegeta didn't care about class as much? Well, he kind of gets over it. What you see that, actually, post-Boo Saga in a way? Because after that, you don't hear Vegeta calling Goku a low-class warrior. Because he gets over it. Because basically, the moment that he does shows that Vegeta is over Planet Vegeta and he doesn't care about it anymore. That's the thing. He's not clinging on to the past.
Yeah.
So
it's really only when
David, yeah, you pretty much got it already. So yeah. Master Riku. What if there were some grey areas in making wishes with the Dragon Balls? Like, okay, monkey's paw effect. Chi-Chi wishes Gohan and Goten were her babies again, and all of a sudden she looks 8 months pregnant with twins. Oh, okay, so like taking it literally. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Like,
yeah, monkey's paw effects would be...
Yeah. So basically, I think they would have figured that out pretty early on. Like, say, for example, Oolong goes, I wish for panties. And, you know, it would be just like, yeah, okay, that was pretty literal. It was just like, you know, panties fall down from the sky. But any other ones were brought back to life could mean not necessarily being brought back alive. It could mean, oh, the inanimate zombification becomes animate. Yeah.
Gosh.
It could, you'd have to be very, very, very literal. You'd have to basically be like, you'd have to almost kind of like tell Shenron, okay, what I want you to do with this wish is do this, then that, and then get to that and this, and then it gets that.
Imagine that army of zombies after reviving everyone by Frieza and his men.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's essentially, what if Shenron was the Wishmaster from Wes Craven's horror movie series?
But yeah, making Chi-Chi pregnant with 8 months with twins. Oh my god, Saiyan twins. Can you imagine how bad it was just with one? Oof.
The kicking would be horrible, I imagine.
Oh jeez, no, oof, no. The Giver of L. What if Jiro and Bulma controlled the Big Getaster? If Jiro did, he would probably use it to his own ends of advancing human technology. He'd almost like kind of work in cooperation with it. So, with Bulma, though, it's probably too much of a negative impact to actually want to utilize it.
Yeah, Jiro could really fasten his android production line. He could create the whole army, which would play the song, because that would be good for our heroes.
So let's move on. Oscar Meistes Marlin. What if Gohan had evil Saiyan powers like Kumba? Okay, so basically if his rage boost were just like harking back to ancient Saiyans. I think that's what they're trying to get at. So
I think he's talking more about the key corruption aspect of being able to convert people to evil by tainting their ki.
Well, that was a power that was used one time, then never used again. It was a cool power though.
It is interesting, more if only because it's kind of like it's a very weird power to have. This whole thing about like actively altering a person's more or less their soul through their ki,
but it just means that Goku can't hit them really, really hard.
Yeah, you know, Canberra is one of those characters that I feel that is one of the main characters from Heroes that I feel he would benefit from being in a better show than Heroes.
Well, he's
like he is a character that should have been Raditz.
Super Dragon Ball Heroes.
Yeah, he might, but even if he wasn't Raditz, you could do more with him in even, you know.
You could. I'm just being.
I know. I don't disagree, but even if you had a Canberra, like even ancient Saiyan like this would be a more interesting version. Because at the end of the day, he's not just a raging beast. He's more methodical than Broly, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. Anime Andrew. For Dragon Ball R&R, if Ginyu was alive, would she yell at Raditz for making fun of Goten's hair? Oh, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, she'd bonk him on the head. Like, I taught you better than that.
Definitely some head bonking going on there.
And then Goku would just say, "Oh, he said the same thing about my hair." And then
did you?
And then Ginyu said, "Did you?" So what? No, of course not. His Super Saiyan 3 hair is majestic. He played with his own hair. Nick Wolf, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. What if Bardock saw visions of Goku recruiting working with Frieza in the Tournament of Power as well as Goku defeating Frieza? Would Bardock live longer? I think Bardock would be absolutely confused. He'd be just like, what? My Saiyan and Frieza? What?
Why Frieza is yellow and purple?
I have so many questions!
His mind is breaking under the strain of it.
I think Bardock would be severely confused. Pretty much. Okay, Saber1616. What if Goku and Vegeta were a Grand Servant in Fate Grand Order, helping MASH think of it as a special event rather than in canon?
Well, the problem there is mostly with the power situation. Dragon Ball characters are planet busters, and them squaring off with just about any servant from the Fate universe is already kind of like it's a done deal. If you wanted to know what kind of class they would probably be, I'd say that Goku would be a Lancer, because he has the power pole as his primary weapon. And of course his noble phantasm would probably be the Super Kamehameha or the Super Spirit Bomb. If you were talking a different character, I think Berserker, we already know who that would be. That would be Broly. That would definitely be Broly. But honestly, if anybody were to summon either of any Dragon Ball character as a servant in the Fate universe, it would pretty much mean like a guaranteed victory in the Grail War, unless they went up against somebody who was like able to mind control them or something like that. Maybe Gilgamesh, just because he's got the vault. But
okay, all right, that's fair. Okay, Monsterland. What if Beerus woke up early and showed up at the Cell Games? They had 6 Saiyans at the time, Future Trunks and Unborn Goten. Love to see him kill Cell. Well,
he wouldn't. I don't think he would.
He wouldn't. There's no reason for him to be there. Because the Super Saiyan... Okay, if he woke up early about the Super Saiyan God, he'd be like, oh, which one of you are Saiyans? And then, like, they'd be like that. But at the same time...
Well, technically, I'm partially Saiyan, you know.
No. So basically...
Oh.
So basically, and then he would just kill everyone. Or, like, he would just, like, say, are you...
I don't think he would... I mean, he doesn't have a reason to move away. He can just watch the whole event from his house.
He just watch the whole thing happen and see who's the strongest. He'd probably ask Gohan, "Are you the Super Saiyan God? What? No? Okay." take out Gohan. Just in that way, because, you know, oh, the strongest Saiyan here isn't the Super Saiyan God. Well, these other ones aren't going to be. So, yeah. Thunder Student. What if Beerus woke up during the Shadow Dragon Saga instead of the 5 Years of Peace, during the fight with Rage Shenron? Powers would be stronger. And I think Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and stuff like that would be certainly a very interesting perspective. And maybe the Universal Spirit Bomb. I think he'd almost contribute energy himself by going like, huh, that sounds like kind of a laugh. Well, why not? Just almost out of like, just say, oh, hey, cool. This seems kind of neat. And then, like, when Shenron's about to take Goku away, Beerus goes like, oh, no, you don't. I have business with this Saiyan. And then Shenron goes like, yes, Lord Beerus. Bye, Goku. Boom. And just goes away. And then, like, you know, Goku has to deal with Beerus.
Hi, you're a cat. Indeed I am.
Yeah, pretty much. And the conversation would be just like, the conversation's going to be like this, isn't it? But yeah, something like that. Monster Land again. What if Chi-Chi uses Nimbus to find Gohan and Piccolo, and they come to the agreement that Gohan can fight, but only if she's there, so has to train her too. Oh yeah, because Chi-Chi does have, or at least did, was able to use Nimbus. I don't know whether she can right now, or she does now.
Oh, I'm sure she can. She's still
I'd say
a
good enough, I would say, if she did. Well, she could do, but at the same time, Toriyama ran out of ideas, and he was in no condition or inclination to actually do so. Because actually, you know what? Nimbus is still around. She can just shout for Nimbus. I'm sure Nimbus knows what Chi-Chi looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think
I think Nimbus knows better to because the consequences might be dire if he refuses.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, Goku would not be very happy if he comes back. Nintendo Man 800. What if planet Vegeta and the Saiyans were wished back right after the Frieza saga? Okay, good clarifier to include the planet as well.
And good order.
Yeah, good order. Yeah, exactly. If it were the other way around, there'd be a bit of a problem. Basically, the Saiyans would be in space, then a planet would end up consuming them. Okay, so basically, so if they were, then word would get around that Frieza was destroyed, and it was by Goku or a Saiyan. And if every single Saiyan was brought back, including Bardock, then Bardock would remember that the prophecy came true. So he would be the one to kind of almost be the one to say, hey guys, this is actually true. I thought it would happen. Because their memories would pretty much be immediately before the planet was destroyed.
And the interesting thing to me is that it probably would mean we could get a civil war, because some people were like, okay, this Kakarot, the kid of Bardock, like lives like this, he's so powerful, we should be more like him. And some of them like, no, we are not, including, I think, King Vegeta, we are not dropping our old ways. So we could end up having a civil war between Saiyans, between the old ways and new ways of the Saiyan.
Okay. No, I think that's reasonable enough. Okay, Godzilla 4189. What if Hindu mythology / Asura's Wrath was a part of Dragon Ball's cosmology?
It kinda is. I mean,
yeah, it sort of
Hindu,
is, actually, yeah.
Hindu mythology, it has a lot of stuff. Speaking of Asura's Wrath, I don't have a lot of knowledge. Do you, Sophie? Do you know anything about Asura's Wrath?
Never played the game. All I know is that it was a high impact action heavy game where various different gods fought each other. Honestly, I couldn't answer this question with any degree of
yeah, same.
But I mean, like if you look at just to say, if you look at the multiple Hinduistic deities, it is like what we have the whole large amount of gods in Dragon Ball universe, that and the whole the order of the gods that's really complicated is kinda in line in what we have in Hindu mythology, Okay. And I think it works very much like that. And as for gods fighting, like in Asura's Wrath, the only good part of the manga version of Tournament of Power, which is the battle royale of the the Gods of Destruction.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Paparacha, what if Gohan's pacifist personality corrupted Super Buu? So basically, if Gohan's... well, the thing was, though, if this was regular Gohan, like normal, yeah, that could happen. But the trouble is, though, that the Gohan that Super Buu absorbed was, like, a very, very cocky, very, very, very Saiyan-like Gohan. So, unfortunately, Super Buu absorbed Ultimate Gohan, which means that had that power and that temperament. So, yeah, you have smart and calculating and logical, but you also have that cocky brashness. So, say for example, okay, so basically, Gohan, just before he is absorbed, powers back down to his normal being. Then, yeah, he's not a strong absorption. And, yeah, it could actually mean that Super Buu becomes less inclined to fight. Maybe...
Or, he would end fights faster. Could you imagine Buu being, like, bored by fighting and just, ending the fights quickly, but roaming the cosmos and taking all of the knowledge sources, like, breaking the libraries? Because he would still be kind of an, a bad fruit, but he would be like, okay, I'm taking those books. He would like to. He could have this obsession of having ultimate knowledge.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Paparacha, it's a GT what if. What if Goku was turned into an infant? Oh, okay. So basically, if Goku was reduced to the size of a baby, well, it would improve the story because Goku would literally be not able at all to go out into space.
Yeah.
So it would literally be Pan, Goten, and Trunks.
We would have more than one baby in this story then.
Yeah, a not so perfect baby.
Yeah.
Paparacha again. What if S cells were sexually transmitted?
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Alright, okay. Let's put this in a way that is less gross. But basically, or just, less iffy. Say, for example, okay. If Gohan and Videl or Goku and Chi-Chi did the deed, and it meant that Saiyan DNA somehow mutated the human female. Well, it would probably mean... It probably would be a very small amount. For like... Well, it depends on how many times copulation happened, I guess.
We're gonna get very, very distracted.
What I want to say,
put a biological spin on things.
What I want to say, what you want to say is that the maker of Super Dragon Ball card game cards would be really happy with it.
Okay.
Basically, the implication here would be that anybody who has relations with a Saiyan would acquire S cells and thus be to some percentage or degree Saiyan themselves.
Yeah.
So all it would basically mean is that with enough effort, these partners could become at least Saiyan in part. Whether or not they could achieve Super Saiyan, who knows?
Yeah, Paparacha has like saying turning their partners into Pseudo Saiyans.
So they would have increased power gains. They'd probably even be able to Zenkai boost. Depending upon the percentage value, they might be able to even achieve Super Saiyan. But I mean, do we really want to reduce being a Saiyan to essentially being a disease?
It's not. It's
not.
Even though Saiyans do overwhelm Dragon Ball like a disease, we don't want to actually literally make them that.
I just imagined after Future Trunks' initial appearance, Krillin goes to Vegeta and is like, "Hey Vegeta," and Vegeta's like, "No."
So basically,
because he wanted to get stronger.
We basically have almost like Frieza doing the Agent Smith speech, like going, "Saiyan beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you Saiyans do not."
Thank you, Agent Frieza.
Yeah, but if you but if you think about this, Dragon Ball Online kind of does that with the with the half-bloods, because like most of Earth's population in online has some Saiyan genes at some point.
Very, very small amount
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, but still gives them potential.
Yeah, potential. Okay. Wilma 10. Is What Infinity still going to happen? Eventually. But I do have an idea for 2020 that seems kind of cool. So, people aren't really, in a way, not happy with how the Tournament of Power turned out. Certainly not in the manga. But what I'm going to do is come up with a special bingo tournament to actually make it so that means it's the fans' choice of who wins the Tournament of Power. And I'm going to do it in a very, very elaborate way involving tinsel curtains, jackets, and bingo machines.
Yes.
It's going to be done very, very cheesily, and you will love it. So look forward.
Vote for my boy Bororeta.
Yeah, Bororeta, well, I hope will make past the first round. So yeah, okay. So just wait. Let's wait and see for that one. Pizza 15X. What if Android 18 married Yamcha instead of Krillin? Well, it'd be good for me.
Well, here's the big thing: is that honestly, it wouldn't be that bad of a situation. The only person who we have to basically, the only word of anybody we have to go on in any way a bad boyfriend was Bulma's, and we know she also tends to over exaggerate. Yamcha's dream, being a poor orphan desert bandit, his entire dream was having a family and kids and settling down and stuff like that. And we see very clearly from 18's relationship with Krillin that she is very much content to be a housewife and raise a family and do stuff like that. Plus, we also know that she's very, very into having money. So having a baseball star for a husband probably wouldn't be too bad of a situation for her. Yeah. And we know that Yamcha would be a loving, caring, loyal sort of husband. And 18 might even whip him back into shape.
True.
And stuff goes.
Oh, yeah, of course. Because she does do that with Krillin. Yeah. Like that illusion with the cappuccino. The cappuccino heartbreaking. Oh, that was symbolism in a Dragon Ball episode. Oh. Yeah. Seriously, I wanted to shout symbolism.
It was one of the best episodes. Honestly.
It was, because basically 18 doesn't even just goes like, "You're not weak, are you, Krillin?" Oh, dang it, I'm not. No. So that was like, oof, okay, oh. And then even Marin gets in on it. Oh, jeez.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. Mark Galvin, what if Trunks spared King Cold and formed a truce? Well, the thing was, though, he did sort of spare him. But, King Cold tried to get him with his sword. That was pretty much like, yeah, no. So basically, if Trunks was stupid enough to actually do the truce and King Cold got away, yeah, no, Vegeta would probably just chew him out, saying, you go fix that problem right now. So yeah, I think that's how it would happen.
Yeah.
Thunder Student, what if Turles arrived at the same time as Nappa and Vegeta? Well, if he did, he would certainly follow the line of Vegeta, but at the same time, almost like you say, look, let's use the Tree of Might. We can use that. And if all three of them used it, yeah, no, I'm playing the sound. Like, not even the Spirit Bomb could beat that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I feel like Vegeta would not be very inclined to work alongside Turles, especially knowing that he is a low-class Saiyan warrior that essentially cheated his way through hyperspace steroids to get to his level of power.
But
I think Vegeta would probably...
He does have that power. And right now, with Goku there, I think he would take it.
I suppose so.
I feel maybe Nappa would take it, and they would overpower Vegeta.
See,
Vegeta and Goku would have to team up.
Yeah.
I don't know if Turles would offer it to them. I feel like Turles would probably be more like, oh, good. Can kill not only Kakarot, but also the prince and his muling sidekick.
Oh, okay.
That's a good point.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Let's make a note of it.
Yep.
Crazy Redmu. What if Piccolo used giant form to train Gohan to master grade 8 form? Oh, well, you know, that could have been,
Yeah.
that would have been cool to see. Basically, Piccolo becomes a giant form to try and, like, calm down grade 8 Gohan.
I mean, that would be much more logical than destroying the moon,
Yeah,
you know?
but
Like,
the
I
thing is,
thought
though, the
yeah.
power multiplier in the giant form with Piccolo is nowhere near as much as, like, Gohan.
Yeah, but I would say still Piccolo would beat him with experience.
Yeah, true.
And the fact that he can control himself.
That is fair. That is true. So it probably would actually balance out. Seton Tube 2000. What if Pilaf wished Goku to be more older rather than a kid again? Well, the thing was, though, basically saying, I wish for Goku to be 20 years older. That wouldn't actually make much of a difference.
And
At
Goku
least
would be
not
like,
in the
okay, what happened?
Yeah, basically,
Well,
he'd still be the same, because they're still in his prime. But
You could
but
use
Pilaf
the-
didn't know that, and he's used his wish, so it's like, oh. Oh dear.
You could make the wording a little different. You could have it
Yeah.
be something like Pilaf wishes for Goku to become a withered and decrepit old man.
Oh,
you know.
we'd have that
So-
episode of Steven Universe. Oh my god. When I first saw that birthday episode, oh my god. That made me
Yeah, the
like...
birthday episode was very existentially.
That was harrowing. That was like,
Mm.
this is episode 6. I'm like, oh my god. That was like, this, okay, this is a show that's going to be doing that. Right. Okay. But yeah, no, that's true. You'd have to change the phrasing to make it more effective. Okay, Vulcan. What if Chi-Chi was the daughter of Bardock and Gine, Tora and Fasha? Hercule or Raditz? What if Goku had a daughter? What if Chi-Chi was a fighter? Thanks. Oh, okay, you're being cheeky. That's like multiple ones. Basically, Bardock and Gine had another daughter that they forgot to mention. Maybe it just mean that Gohan would be a full Saiyan.
But that would be, you know, brother and sister having a child. You know, that's the Game of Thrones territory, really.
Yeah, that would be a bit. That'd be a bit much for a Toriyama thing.
Yeah.
If Goku had a daughter, not really much of a difference, really, because yeah, they train in a way.
I think the daughter might be would be more inclined to butt heads with Chi-Chi and have fights with her and wouldn't be so
She
Yeah.
would
You know.
she would resist.
yeah, resist Chi-Chi more.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay. And if what Chi-Chi was a fighter, better understanding about why Gohan should be fighting, pretty much. Monsterland. Shout out to YouTuber Salad Saiyan, only one to make a what if Chi-Chi was a Z fighter as the main theme. Unlike the guy reading this. Lol. Check it out. Oh, that's cool. And yeah, we probably should do that. But in a
Shout
theory,
out to
we do. We do that in What If Goku Was Female.
Yeah, in Fem Goku,
Oh, as the
she
main
is a
theme.
Z
It's the
fighter.
main theme. Okay.
The main theme, the issue with Chi-Chi being a Z fighter as the main theme is mostly just from the basis of what does Chi-Chi bring to the table that affects the primary narrative all that much. I haven't seen Salad Saiyan's What If, so I don't know how they go about it. Maybe I should check that out a bit. But I wouldn't mind doing a what if like that, especially since anything that gives some of the women of Dragon Ball a bit more of the spotlight, a bit more opportunity to shine instead of being relegated to the kitchen, would be very, very fun for me.
No, agreed.
There's do not tell in which one there's a big arc for Chi-Chi in one of our what ifs, but I don't want to spoil it, but it's a huge one. It's a biggie.
Yeah. Okay. Vulcan again. What if Goten was Goku Black? Thoughts? Oh.
I honestly thought that it would be very interesting to have Goten, to have a Goten Black situation, just because I feel like it would have better, it would have been able to be a bit more thematically linked to Trunks in some way.
Yeah.
Because future Trunks never had Goten as his best friend because Goten was never born. But to be faced with this situation, especially if you found a way to kind of link and past Trunks into the story a little bit more, if they weren't constantly being left out and left behind and only there to kind of just throw some support here and there. It would be a very, very interesting little thing where Trunks is fighting a person who had the potential to be his greatest friend, but never got to know him because of the android shenanigans.
Yeah.
Thanks to his time travel mishap, has more or less been rendered this evil being. It would be interesting, and I almost feel like it would have also been more interesting if Black had not been a Zamasu who stole a person's body.
Exactly.
If it had actually been an evil version of Goku, or in this case Goten, especially Goten, like if it had been like future where it was still the bad future.
Exactly, because Zamasu is so much more interesting being just Zamasu, and Black would be much interesting being literally anyone else than Zamasu.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a bit of a dud when we first heard about it. Okay. Roger shouldn't be a name. That's the actual username. What if Goku didn't have the Patara earrings during Boo? I'm playing the sound. If the Patara earrings didn't exist, then yeah, they're done, pretty much. Like that was the only way they could do it, unless they formed Gogeta. They'd have to basically do the fusion, like Metamor and stuff, and I don't think Boo would allow them the time to do it. So I think they'd have to pull off Metamor fusion, and then can Gogeta. I think the old Gogeta might be able to do it, because that old Gogeta was more methodical and blunt and to the point. But if it was the new Gogeta, no. It would basically just be Vegeta.
Probably not.
Yeah, then the old Gogeta probably would win. Okay, so if you want to put it that way. That's the way to go. Jerry McCauley. Hi, Masako. Alright. Hey, Masako. I'm a big fan of DBZ. Can I hear you talking in your British Goku voice, please? Well, there you go, Jerry or Gary or whatever you want to say. This is me talking in my Goku voice. It's surprisingly quite easy to do, because I just do it. There you go. Dealey Griff, I did not pass your super chat. It is on the list, and we did talk about it earlier. So, just look at Dealey Griff. How is relevant is Uber in the original ending of Z? So we did showcase you. So we did check it. It is on the list, and we did talk about it. But basically, what we talked about with Oob is that he is still relevant, and we like what Toriotaro is doing with adding extra content. So we did cover that. Just letting you know. Alex Sklavenitis, or Venitis. What if Juro arrived with all the androids up front? Okay, so basically if he had... No, it's alright, D-Leaf. Don't worry about it. It's all good. If he arrived with all the androids right there and then the Red Ribbon Army would be totally dominating the planet. Because if he became an android himself, he had Android 19, just 19 and 20, then pretty much he would just use the other androids to help just, like, do the cleanup duty. Yeah, I played the sound, but we played it quite recently. It's sound-worthy, I would say. Yeah. And lastly, Brendan Little. In What If Goku landed at Capsule Corp, would Boxer take as big an interest in science as Bulma? Or would his dabbling just devolve into him going, I've done nothing but teleport bread for 3 days? That's an interesting quote. But we do elaborate on that in the first part, is that Boxer's mind, I'm tempted to say Goku all the time, but Boxer's mind, he's interested, but he can't quite grasp full-on engineering and science. But he is a good mechanic, he's good with his hands. And he does have an appreciation for building stuff and understanding basic engineering, like building vehicles and building stuff to put together. If you gave him a manual on how to do it, to build something, he could do it. But he wouldn't understand it. He'd be just like, just show me how to put it together and I'll put it together. Yeah, but other than that, I would say, like, yeah, Boxer would be useful. And he is useful because also he's really, really strong. So that definitely helps. And with that, we are done for the day. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and for contributing. We will be back with our regularly scheduled service probably at a different date. We might be going on Saturday the 4th, probably. Because I will be entertained. No, actually, maybe Friday the 3rd. It depends when I can get back. It depends that, but just keep an eye on all my Twitters and social media platforms and stuff like that. Yeah, you'll know when it is. But all I'd like to say is thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Haverok and Sophie, for your work.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome, and thank you all as well.
And be sure to stay tuned to the next video coming out tomorrow, which is a What If Nappa Turned Good episode. And then we'll have Frieza Turned Good Part 2 coming out on the 31st, and that will round up our content here on the MasakoX channel for the 2010s. So I hope you guys are doing well, and take care, have a good night, and stay safe and have fun. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye!